So my guess is that a lot of you remember what a single story is. Back in October, we discussed a whole unit around this. We read Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mom. We looked at single story through our first round of LDGs and those memoirs. Some of you read about Rocket Boys, I Beat the Odds, Michael Orr, My 13th Winter, etc., etc. We're going to look back at that concept of single story today with our 4 LDG books currently. What I have here are 2 resources that could help you. First one is the TED Talk here below me. This is Adichie who wrote a book called Purple Hibiscus. She's an outstanding author. She is someone who coined this term single story. The TED Talk is about 15 minutes long. Don't feel like you have to watch all of it or any of it if you don't need to. But she does go over some awesome examples that might allow you to make a connection to your own book. So take a look at that video if you'd like. And to the left here is our class prayer model on single story from the first day of the unit. Remember, the definition of single story is the one thing you know about a person or a group of people, which comes to be how you define them. So oftentimes that can be culture, ethnicity, maybe it's an economic group, maybe it's gender, certain clique, even in a middle school setting, for example, that group of people and what you assume or come to know about them based on who they associate with. It is oftentimes how people come to define them, but it is largely untrue or at least not the complete story. Typically comes from one source, oftentimes has negative connotations, and it neglects to incorporate multiple aspects of people's lives. It is a very simplified observation of someone. Is it entirely untrue? No, there can be elements of truth to it, but it is not painting the full picture and creating an entire story about someone. That's why it's called a single story. Some stereotypes, like 8th graders are difficult. That's something that I heard when I got this job way back when. It turned out not really to be true. I've enjoyed the job immensely, and I don't find the large majority of all of you to be difficult at all. That's not the word that I would use to describe you whatsoever. Sometimes you can't listen to people and their single stories about what something is, what a group of people is, or what a single person is because of the groups they associate with. People on welfare don't care about getting a job. That's a single story. That's an assumption. So, some examples down in the bottom left. And then when you challenge your beliefs, when you really study a character or study a human being for all different aspects of them, you are defying a single story and you are looking at the full lens of what makes us human. So today we're going to take a look at what is a single story from our LDG books that we're noticing, and what is your protagonist, or it could be a secondary character, doing to try to overcome or prove that single story wrong. Okay. All through Unit 2, I have slideshows on single stories, so if you feel like you want to, you can go ahead and go back and check those out on Google Classroom, but I think these 2 resources here should be enough for you. All right, so let's continue with some key questions to ask ourselves.